We're going to welcome George Foster into the show today. George Foster.
George, I'm trying to tell him that Brock Bowers doesn't play defense, and the defense will be fine on Saturday.
I ain't know. I forgot George was behind the curtain, man. I would have been honest on here with y'all boys, man.
Yeah, let's.
I ain't hear none of the lines. What lines? What
Very
lines?
good.
You telling?
My goodness,
no,
Pinocchio
there's no
over
lie.
there.
You have to listen back. We need
Negative Nick. If you don't know George Foster went to University of Georgia, first round draft pick. About 9 years in the NFL as well. We had Ron Dane on the show last week. If you didn't listen to that, go check that out on the YouTube channel. George Foster blocked for Ron Dane as well, but George is a member of the Roll Up family. We're excited to welcome him on to the show today. Silk, we'll start with you. George is your boy. So first question to you.
Man, he already like me and George in the group chat, bro. I've been ducking the group chat for the last 2 years. When I started the Georgia podcast, shout out to 100 Sanford. When I reached out to them guys that even started Georgia podcast before Georgia had one in that, and it's like, Silk, I think you gave them boys some good luck, man.
Bro, you did.
Ever since you started the Georgia podcast, they've been on the road, man. But we here, man.
Sorry, George. We got to shutter up the podcast. It's been a good run for y'all, but we got to stop the podcast.
We got to shut it down after this year if y'all win it all, bro. I might take it if it keeps y'all from like knocking somebody like Florida State out as well. I'll take that. You feel me?
Well, they don't have a chance,
right? That's what I'm saying. Unless we knock y'all off this weekend.
Okay, that's one.
That is true. That is one. But
you got to beat you got to work real hard to beat Georgia once nowadays. Beat them twice,
impossible. Yeah,
Treon Harris is undefeated against Georgia, baby. I've seen some weird
Treon Harris.
I believe the last loss. I believe the last regular season loss that you guys have is from the Florida Gators.
Yeah.
Really? No. You said regular season?
Regular season. Yeah. You guys had a big 14-0 lead. Silk and I were a little bit in our feelings, but Silk said, hey, team's coming back.
Right, bro.
That was Treon Harris?
No. That was 2020. That was 2020.
No, Treon Harris didn't do anything.
2020. That was
Mullen Trask.
That was Mullen.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts.
Kadarius Toney.
Kyle Pitts.
Remember those guys?
We went crazy on y'all.
Yeah, somebody like almost knocked Pitts. They knocked each other out, right?
Yeah.
No. It was clear targeting.
Yeah, Pitts got injured.
Was it targeting? Did it get called?
Yeah. He got tossed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we saw some celebrating by your fan base when Kyle Pitts was injured. We don't do that at UF, but George, what Brock?
That's a grown man. You know, I'm sorry the Falcons don't know how to use him right, but that was a grown man.
That guy had a catch.
Man. Get that guy out of there, man.
The only defensive coordinator that can stop Kyle Pitts is Atlanta's offensive coordinator.
Right.
That's true. Now, George, we've been talking for a while about Carson Beck. He don't have his man Brock Bowers. Like, what do you think of the offense without Brock?
It'd be crazy to say that it doesn't change any, but in a way it doesn't. We're lucky we're Georgia, put it like that. You know what I mean? Because if he was the only piece, we'd be in trouble, because he's a dynamic, huge piece, a playmaker. He's clutch, which I don't think it's talked about him a lot, because he's so good. He's so good all the time. You don't realize how clutch he is.
Right.
He makes some timely plays for Georgia over the last 2 years, and then going into this year too. But we'll miss that clutchness. But I think the offense, especially with a week off, will figure out ways how to get other playmakers the ball, because they still got some playmakers. They might not be top 5 picks like Brock Bowers, but they have a few playmakers. But we'll see how it goes. I'm confident in Beck. Beck's been spending it this year, been taking care of it. And so we'll see what happens, man. These young guys got to step up. They got some youngsters that tight end, and they gotta bow up. They gotta drop the nuts.
Now, I brought it up, right, I think, before you were in the green room. How much
Mhm.
does having Brock out affect the running game? Because, like, if you're in 12 personnel, you can't add an extra linebacker because you have to respect that Brock can leak out. He holds his own blocking. How much does that hurt the running game? And listen, I understand Georgia's recruited fantastically. I think they haven't had a class lower than 3 since Kirby's second year. But, like, there's no one person that replaces Brock Bowers. Like, he's a dude.
Yeah. Oscar Delp has to drop his nuts. You know what I mean? He's gonna have to block. You know, Brock was an underrated blocker. And then of course you had to account for him in the passing game, but he was really good in the running game too. Oscar Delp, he's gotten better, but he's not quite there yet as a run blocker. They feel really good about Lawson Lucky as a run blocker. He's a dog. I played with his triplet dad and uncles at Georgia, the Lucky triplets. All 3 tough guys. So he gets it honest. And he should help in the run game. But yeah, losing Brock is gonna you lose. You know, he's complete. He's not the biggest tight end out there, but he's still complete as a tight end. And you do miss that.
You guys do get Lad McConkey back. I think he was out for the beginning of the season. It is.
He's been sprinkling in a little bit of play time. One thing about this staff is I trust them a lot. I trust the staff, and I trust the have
they earned that trust, George?
Yeah. Yeah. For the last 600 something like days, they've earned my trust. Just how they handle injuries and stuff. You know what I mean? So I believe we're gonna get probably the best Lad we've had all season, and he makes a difference. He makes a difference. He's a complete wide receiver. He'll probably be picked in the top 3 rounds. In the draft.
Kind of guy.
Huh?
Quick, sneaky, athletic, lunch pail kind of guy.
White guy.
First in, last out. Coach's son, probably.
Son for sure.
Coach's son. His dad probably coached.
Gym rat, the student of the game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
High football IQ.
Fast.
But he's legit. He's legit.
Yeah.
And some really knowledgeable people told us he was legit before he got there. And so I'm glad to have him. I'm looking forward to Rara. I think Rara is gonna be a good replacement for Bowers, his production.
Okay.
Because he's got some size on him, some length. He can stretch the field a little bit. I think I'd be surprised if we didn't see a little bit more of Arian Smith, because he scared the shit out of everybody.
He fast as hell.
Yeah.
I remember that name.
10 players on Georgia averaging more than 10 yards a catch.
Really?
Now one guy only has 1 catch on the season, so if you would take him out, you still have 9 players. Brock Bowers isn't playing, so they're going to bring 8 people that have more than 10 yards a catch to Jacksonville.
I didn't know that. Wow. Yeah. So they got some players. Like they did the portal right in the offseason, with Lovett and Rah. And so we needed those guys, because I don't know where we'd be without those guys. And you can't forget, I've always liked Rosemary Jack Saint. He's a reliable guy. Yep,
St. Thomas Aquinas.
We get down there. We get down there now.
I need you to chill out. I need you to chill out.
That's coming to an end, though. We finna end.
We did get into St. Thomas Aquinas.
No, that's my alma mater. I need you to chill out down there, George.
Oh no, man. We got Masoni. We've had Sony. Who else we got from down there?
I gotta tell Kirby to check in at the barbershop. So we get rid of that bowl cut too while you're down here.
Yeah, man. So I think I'm not. The thing about the scary thing, nothing bothers me about this game. Nothing bothers me about any game yet, because they haven't showed me a reason to be concerned yet. But that's kind of scary. You know what I mean? When you had lost in a single game in 2 years, it's kind of like, when is the foot going to drop? You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm confident in this team. Is just they're coached really well and they've recruited really well. So they don't have any excuses. You'll never hear any excuses from me because they got what they need. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens.
I mean,
I
when you have
got you.
33 touchdowns on the year, it's easy to be confident.
Say what now?
When you have 33 touchdowns on the year, it's pretty easy to be confident.
33 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Is that
Oh,
That's
Dan-
receiving
Dan's
and
throwing
rushing.
Dan's throwing numbers at George, and George's like, yeah, we're just roaming through.
is that
Yeah.
no for real though? Real talk.
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
We're just rolling through. We'll see in the playoffs.
19 rushing touchdowns, 14 receiving touchdowns.
Is that high, middle of the road? Like what?
That's
What is
pretty
that?
high.
It's
Pretty high, especially considering the competition. Didn't look to see where that ranks nationally. Nick, our super stat guy, will look it up.
So how many does Florida have?
Not that many.
Not that many.
They
Not
know
that
all your
many.
numbers and none of ours, George.
Say what now?
They know all your
That
numbers
is-
and none of ours.
Is
Let me ask
35
you something,
touchdowns
though.
on the year for Georgia is 12th, and we'll do a little search for Florida if I can spell it.
That's
right.
12th in the country.
12th in the country. Florida is 79th with 24 touchdowns.
Very
And
good.
how many games is this? What is this? 6 games?
This will
It's
be
7
game
games,
8.
yeah.
7 games.
Game 8.
7
What
games.
game 8? We had to have more than that last year.
That-
though, at this point, I would have thought.
Different team last year too, man. That was a monster
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah, that's true. Now, don't get me twisted. Yeah,
No,
that's different. That was different.
that was a monster
saying?
last year.
But I was just trying to think, just the way college football is nowadays. 30 some touchdowns. I would have thought that would be kind of like middle of the pack.
LSU, who don't think Georgia ever has to play, but they have 49, lead the country.
They've also
Yeah,
allowed
they don't play no
49?
defense. They would the shootout.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not scared of them though. It's a
Yeah,
dude
that's-
stop me.
Hey, don't worry, I know you'll never
Bro,
play.
but that's wild. Like LSU, not only is their defense
may play
bad,
LSU this year,
their
though.
secondary is terrible.
They may play LSU this year.
First time since
I don't know.
In Atlanta?
Bama's
Since
trying to.
Abraham Lincoln was president.
Bama's trying to hold on.
Yeah, we'll see.
Bama's trying to hold on. Who's Bama have left?
Auburn.
They're gonna whoop
Auburn.
Auburn.
Yeah,
They're gonna.
yeah.
Have they played LSU?
they haven't played LSU yet.
not played
November 4th, next week.
And I just think the quarterback play. I don't want to get too deep into that game, but I think Jaden Daniels is going to cause them some fits. And
Yes.
all,
Yeah.
and their quarterback situation is still weird to me.
Now remember this. Remember what you just said when we do our LSU preview show.
No, I already talked about LSU last night on the roll up, bro. Like that's not. We talking about style of fights earlier. That ain't the style of fight that matches us well.
Mhm.
They don't play defense, but they're down to get in a shootout, and we're not built for that right now. Can Mertz maybe develop some shit that we'll know about in the next few weeks?
Magic
Probably.
Mertz, baby. Magic
but-
Mertz.
How
A
do
little
y'all-
Cajun voodoo.
How do y'all like on the honestly speaking, how do y'all feel about this game this
No.
weekend?
I feel better that Brock's out, and
Mhm.
watching you guys start slow. It just don't seem like the big monster Georgia team. I know how super talented y'all are. Like y'all the big dogs in the SEC right now. Y'all the new Bama. You feel me? So I understand that. But if there's a year, I think you guys susceptible. Like it's this year. You know what I'm saying? I know our talent is getting better. I want to ask you, what do you thought about, and you get those guys' opinion in a second, but what you thought? We talked in the preseason about this Gator team, and I thought they was going to be a little bit better than what media was saying. And I do think they're better. Mertz is better than what a lot of people expected. But what's your view of Florida this year in this matchup?
I haven't had a chance to keep up with them a lot. I was out of the country for like 2 weekends of college football. Last weekend and weekend before that, and nothing like I wasn't finding no way to watch no football, man. So I didn't get to see it. I didn't see a lot of it. But Florida, it's funny because I didn't have high expectations for Florida preseason, and then they came out and looked, decent, and then it's kind of like, okay, are they what I expected again? Like, so they're kind of like up and down.
Correct.
I will say, numbers wise, Mertz he's handling his own. He's done better than I thought. You know, just coming from what he did at Wisconsin, I thought he was going to just really stink up the joint.
Yeah.
If I'm being
George,
honest, I thought it was going to stink up the joint.
So did
He
Nick.
threw the ball 40-something times at South Carolina. We talked to him after the game. He goes, "I'm having more fun than I've ever had in my life." I'm like, "Did you not know about Wisconsin when you were
Like,
growing
yeah,
up
right.
in Kansas? You didn't
That's
know
what I
what
was-
you were signing up for, dog?
Right.
48 passes in a game. That's a good month at Wisconsin."
Right. Yeah. So he's you know, we're seeing a different side of him than we had a chance to see, and that happens when you change programs sometimes.
I mean, the
But
best
we could-
quarterbacks in the country too are like transfer quarterbacks. You look around like college football. We talking about Jaden Daniels, Spencer Rattler. You just look around college
The
football.
Heisman, Caleb Williams.
You know, Travis Johnson at Florida State. Jordan Travis, I would say. Jordan Travis at Florida State. Like, look around, bro. It's transfer quarterbacks everywhere. Shining.
Yeah, you just have to find your spot. You know what I mean? Sometimes it works for you, sometimes it doesn't. We had JT Daniels, didn't work out for him. You know what I mean? You just have to find your spot and stay on the field. Don't get Wally Pipp, and you might just succeed. You know what I mean?
Right,
But yeah, Mert's doing better than I thought.
Technically, Stetson Bennett was a transfer.
Technically, Stetson Bennett
Technically,
was a transfer.
he came back. He came back.
You're the Georgia savior.
Man.
Quit on the dogs. Left.
Listen,
The
Came back.
prodigal son did come home.
Hey,
The
listen,
prodigal
that
son did
dude.
come home.
That dude played some good football, man. I gotta even I gotta give it up for Stetson Bennett. And I'll admit that I didn't know. I was scared for everybody to transfer, so I was like, you might want to leave like last year. Before the season last year, I wanted him to leave because I didn't want us to get stuck.
You'd seen that Justin Fields story
remember,
already.
huh?
You'd seen that Justin Fields story already. You're like,
Yeah,
hey, we don't need these boys to transfer.
If you've gone over the years at Georgia, you understand that every few years, every 3 or 4 years, we'll get stuck with a QB. I did not want to get stuck with a dud. You know what I mean? Because we'll have your Staffords, we have your Aaron Murrays, and then we have a dud in between. You know what I mean? I did not want that to happen this year, where we have all these guys transfer. Well, last year when we have all those guys transfer and we get stuck, but Stetson came back, won a job again, and man, I get to talk shit.
Yeah, none of your guys left either. You still got Carson, but you still got Carson back.
Yeah,
Old UF into an offer
at
just to
least one
commit
of them
to
to leave.
Georgia. You still have Brock Vandergriff, so
Yeah.
you know, Florida's offensive line has not been great this year, to put it lightly. Talk about the defensive line at Georgia. Who should we be looking out for?
They haven't really recruited well on the D line, so that's probably a wash.
They're starting 4 5-stars and have 7 more 5-stars backing them up.
Probably a wash.
I'm still looking for somebody to have that breakout. You know what I mean? It's hard when you compare. I was watching Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter last night. I was like, okay, I understand. It's hard to live up to that because they throwing grown men around.
Yeah,
and they're rookies, second-year players. Like, I'm talking about tossing cats out the club at like 22, and I'm like, yeah, there was gonna be some drop off.
They're grabbing grown men who have children to feed and throwing them around the football field.
Throwing them. And I was like, okay, yeah. So we had that last year, so I get it. So it's not gonna be that, but I think those guys are. I think they still have something to prove because we've been rushed on more than I'd like sometimes, and we
lead the SEC in rushing defense.
Say what now?
You lead the SEC in rushing defense.
Really?
Yep, sure do. Sure do.
You got to stop giving them stats, guys. Y'all keep
scoring
giving them stats and shit,
you
man.
lead the SEC in scoring defense, rushing defense, passing defense, total defense. Lead the nation in third down defense.
Nah, I believe that. Like,
so Georgia has allowed the least amount of 10, 20, and 30-yard plays in the SEC.
Damn. Okay.
So must be
nice.
Must be tough watching the little giants out there, George, every Saturday, huh?
Tip, are they last year's team or the year before?
Right.
On defense.
Hope not.
That's why I have a little hope.
That's
why you asked me why I got hope.
Are they either of those teams?
No, they're not.
The year before last, they had 16 draft picks.
Okay.
Half of them probably was on defense.
This is what gives me hope.
You went 40-something years of that championship, and now you're just drunk on trophies, George. They all can't be Jalen Carter. I do have a question though, because it's I think the defensive coordinators both come kind of from the same tree. And Georgia doesn't have sacks. Florida doesn't get sacks. They kind of affect the quarterback. Is that a scheme thing? Is that the way they're taught, or are these guys just not finishing? Because I think only South Carolina has less sacks than Florida and Georgia.
Rushing is getting sacks is a skill, man. Is that's why you get a lot of guys that when they get sacks in college, they get sacks in the league because they know how to get sacks. You know what I mean? I don't think we've had those dynamic pass rushers in this squad. You know what I mean? So Kirby and company, they'll figure out other ways to affect the quarterback. One way to affect the quarterback is there's not a better back end in the country than we have right now. Those two safeties, three safeties. Tyke's picking the ball off like every game. 24 is the best. He's the best safety in the country, hands down. He'll be a top pick. 22 is dealing with some injuries, but he was highly sought after. He was highly, I guess, how do I say, regarded coming into this season before getting hurt. Those three guys are a phenomenal back end. Number 3, Lassiter, he's as solid as they come. He's been playing really good football, and we got some young guys on the other side that have to get up, with Dalen Everett and those guys, Humphrey behind him. So we can affect the QB on the back end, and probably a little bit blitzing. They have some speed, some young speed at linebacker. And the young guys, that can do some blitzing and stuff like that. But it's not gonna be one-on-one guys. First of all, they're not gonna rush over 4. They might rush 3 a lot. They're not gonna rush over 4. And it's 4. So you got 5. You got 5. Yeah. Well, don't hold me to it now.
I hope so.
I'm just saying, but you know how Kirby likes to do. Kirby likes to cover. You know what I mean? He likes to stop the run with 4 and cover. You know what I mean? And they've been good at it.
Bad, man.
Huh?
The less the merrier. My offensive line isn't good, so the less you rush, the merrier for me.
Yeah. So you're gonna have 5-on-4 most times. You know what I mean?
That's not a winning combination. I don't know if that is.
Huh?
I don't know if that's a winning combination still for Florida.
5-on-4. Come on, man. Y'all could block 4 guys.
I don't know if it is.
You know what I mean?
That's the ideal situation we want, George.
But Michael Williams still can play. You know what I mean? He can rush.
One thing Georgia's defense does really well is they swarm. So like Florida's been good early on in the year. Teams were playing like cover 3, just like letting them dink and dunk kind of. And Graham Mertz, was completing damn near 90% of his passes. But like those passes that have 2 air yards that now you're getting 6. Like you might be getting 3 with Georgia. Like that, they just get to the ball quickly.
Yes, that's their. Yeah, I have a feeling that if that's not your MO, you won't play. You know what I mean? Kirby, you know what he gives off. You know what I mean? If you're gonna get on the field, you got to do it his way, and his way is fast and physical. They preach it, and it's not cliche. Everybody wants fast and physical players football, but everybody don't have the Jimmys and Joes to get it done. You know what I'm saying? Right. They got the Jimmys and Joes, and so, but it's Jimmys and Joes behind those Jimmys and Joes. So are you gonna swarm to the ball, or are you gonna sit on the bench? Which one are you gonna do? Because it's somebody that wants your spot. And that's how it was where he came from. It's the name of the game is depth. You know what I mean? Georgia had a lot of injuries the last 2 years. It's not talked about a lot, but they've had a ton of injuries, and it hasn't really mattered. You know what I mean? So
I think it was like 2 years ago. when like Jalen Carter was still like a sophomore. It was unreal watching. Like it was like watching a hockey game. Georgia was just like, hey, second string defensive line, go in, and you're all still 5 stars. But it was like whole line switches. There was like, hey, 2s, 1s.
Yeah.
And
Did Jalen start last year? Did he start last year?
I think it was 2 years ago.
I'm saying, I can't remember if he started last year. I know he got hurt some.
Jalen Carter, he started.
Yeah, he started last year.
Yeah.
I know he didn't the year before. He didn't.
No,
for sure.
Because I think you guys had
Wyatt and Davis.
Yeah,
two first round. Yeah,
so what's the biggest weakness of the team, George? Is it just the color scheme?
I haven't liked how they've defended the edge. You know what I mean? I know we got caught off guard some versus the likes of Auburn. But still, I was like, but the week before UAB, ran the edges a lot. You know what I mean? And so I want us to set the edge better, and because we got to do that versus some of these good teams.
So y'all got to do that versus Trey Wilson for sure.
Say what now?
Y'all want to set that edge. Kirby spoke about Trey a little bit in his presser as well, but I think that's one of the keys to our offense. Our offense, in my opinion, goes through Trey Wilson because he's just such a threat on the edge. He causes pressure. Linebackers got to be accounted for. They got to account for him, and with them account for him when he goes into motion, that loosens up the middle of the field for us for ETN and those guys to get off. I hope that he's back healthy, but. Yeah, I like that you have edge issues and struggle with setting the edge because that's key to our jet sweep offense.
Yes, we have to, like, Auburn caught the edge a lot. UAB caught the edge a pretty good bit, and I haven't been able to watch my dogs the last 2 weekends, versus I forgot who they played last week.
They played Vanderbilt.
Played
37-20. And
Vanderbilt and who was Kentucky before then? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had a bye week.
Yeah, so that was concerning for me, a few weeks ago. I'm sure they spent time on it. They like to use some of these games to work on specific. That's crazy to me that you have the ability to work on your weaknesses and still win games and not
on Saturday.
Yeah. Let's practice on Saturday. They've been practicing on Saturday. To my knowledge, and I don't know, I can't verify this true, but from what I heard, that the Vandy game was practice. That was practice. They had to work on because we know where we're weak at. Kirby knows where we're weak at, so we're gonna work on it.
Yeah, coaches do that. I like that you saying that because coaches do that. Like if it's an inferior, like the fans may be in the stands. Man, why do we look like crap? Like, hey, bro, I got things to work on. This is the perfect live scrimmage.
You want to work at it full speed. Practice just practices. You can do it at practice when you got personnel like that, but typically the game is just so different. It's so different in practice. You know what I mean? You don't that other team, you don't know that other team tendencies like you do your own teammates. Ain't gonna be no brother-in-law on Saturday. I don't care how hard you work at the team. You're gonna brother-in-law sometime, at practice. You know what I mean? But you get to work your stuff against, another team and still win the game. You know what I mean? You take that opportunity.
All right. Well, George go ahead. Nick.
Last one, George. Did Kirby leak his own halftime speech? Like he had to have last year.
Yeah, that's recruiting.
When
last year they had that leak.
Halftime, everything's recorded, but
Kirby leaked that on his own.
The most I think the most talked about one. I don't think it matched up with the game that was being played. Like I think the one that got talked about the most, the game that it came out with, I don't think it was that game. I think it was like at some point during
a little propaganda, a little propaganda.
Possibly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know how it
They
got
run
out.
media. I get it.
You know what I mean? But
We used to sing it out of North Korea and Russia, but University of Georgia too.
it's probably smart to let it out, but that's him. Like that's not no show. That is him. He's an intense, passionate dude, which I think it helps him all around with getting these kids. I think it helps that he's not even 50 yet. He might not be 40. He might be 47, 40. I played with Kirby 1 year, so he might be 47.
Better
You know what
coach
I mean?
than safety?
Huh?
Is he a better coach than safety?
I don't know. He used all SEC, so but yeah, two national
You let him
championships.
go a little bit, you know.
Two national championships. I say, yeah, he's probably better coach than safety, but he's the type of guy that you knew was gonna be, if he wanted to, he was gonna be a great coach, because you look at him like, does that look like an all SEC safety? Just let's keep it real.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, it looks like Jim Carrey and Dumb and Dumber.
He knew how to go pick that ball off, man. He knew how to go get the rock. You know what I mean? He knew how to line up everybody.
He's like a white Ahmad Black.
Bro, I swear I was thinking that. I didn't want to say it out loud. I'm glad you said it. I swear I was thinking the same exact thing. A white Ahmad Black. I was thinking the same shit.
White Ahmad Black
was,
he
played in the NFL.
Ahmad Black was an athlete, though, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, but he also just knew how to get interception.
Yeah, super instinctful. Like you look at my guy Ahmad's 40 time. He'll tell you this. He's undersized for a safety. He's not fast. He's athletic.
He's a football player.
His football instincts was just stupid and crazy.
Yeah, that was Kirby. He had some. I don't know if he led the SC picks 1 year or whenever it was, but I know he had a lot of picks in college.
So
did he have the same bowl cut?
Huh?
Yeah, did he have the same bowl cut in college?
It fit times back then, though.
If you look, he probably did. You might find some old pictures of him and Ghost.
Yeah,
Amari Hardwick from Power. He was at Georgia. Yeah.
I think too that locker room stuff. I think after Kirby did that, we've seen more of that, and I think it's more televised and more produced now. You seen Lanning do it out there, Oregon, screaming they don't do it for the clicks. So like now you're starting to see more of those, but it's like produced.
Well, it to me, there's so many Georgia dudes on that staff, guys that play at Georgia.
Right.
I think this game is just deeply personal to them, and a lot of dudes on that Georgia team that did not have good times playing Florida when they were at Georgia.
I never beat him. I don't know. I think Kirby might have beat him.
I think he beat him one time.
Once. That was the year before. That was the year before. It was the year before I got there.
So I'm not saying you have to be this to be a great college football coach or to be great in rivalries, but like when Silk's talking about, hey, they started slow against South Carolina. That's cool. Kirby probably had a damn good record against South Carolina when he was at Georgia. Hey, they did this against Vandy. Bet Kirby never lost to Vandy. Like, there's no way Georgia shows up to Jacksonville and plays the way they do or starts the way they do that they did against South Carolina or they did in Nashville. Like, there's no way. This is deeply personal to them. I don't know that it is to Florida staff. I don't know that it has to be. But hearing that from him, listen, it's definitely personal for Muschamp, the way y'all treated him and me in the media too.
The way Muschamp treated us.
It was a toxic relationship.
Victim here. I'm the victim. Bring no offense to Gainesville.
Y'all like Champ, man.
Bro, I love Champ, bro. He just couldn't get no offense going. But I love his demeanor. I love
17-20 slugfest.
He just couldn't get no offense going, bro. And his roster management was suspect and crazy. But other than that, like his demeanor, I thought he loved being a coach here. I watched McElwain leave. I watched Mullen leave, and they left like some, I don't want to curse on this. This ain't the roll up.
Ready to go.
But they left, yeah. And I think Champ wanted to be here, bro. And regardless of the Georgia stuff, he loved the job. And I think he loved being the coach here, bro. It just didn't work out with the offense.
I think he's enjoying it back in Athens more.
Yeah, you love to win, and he's a football dude. You know what I mean?
He ran down on Georgia while he was here.
Once
he took that game once too, though.
He beat them once, and he walked into his press conference, and he mimed taking the monkey off his back, and then they fired him. They fired him like 3 weeks later.
Oh, that was his last year. He beat Georgia.
His last year he beat Georgia with Treon Harris, I think.
Yeah, and Kelvin Taylor.
Oh, yeah. Kelvin Taylor ran the ball about 130 times.
Yeah, speaking, you know what I'm saying, give you a little sneak peek. Speaking of Kelvin Taylor, we got his daddy on 100 Sanford this week.
Oh, y'all hanging out. Y'all hanging out a little bit, man.
Yeah, we're gonna talk to Freddie T this week. You know, I locked it in a while back and made sure we had him locked in yesterday. So hopefully, you know, life happens. Hopefully, it's still a go. You know, Wednesday, and hopefully have some good stuff. You know, talk a little football, talk a little cocktail party, and you know, keep it moving.
It should be a fire one.
I love it. I love it. Well, George, we'll let you go. I presume you're going to pick Georgia to win this week.
Oh yeah, got to. I'm always picking the dogs. I'm not a fun picker. You know what I mean? I always thought that as long as I've been, I felt we always had a chance, even when we was losing. You know, because you always have a chance. It's a matter of who plays the best, who plays in state-free football, who coaches the best, and all that stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, I got my dogs. I'll save my prediction for 100 Sanford. I don't know yet. I gotta look. I gotta dig deep and see.
You ain't gotta dig that damn deep, George.
We'll win at least by 2 touchdowns.
Okay,
that's the spread right now. It's 13-14, depending on where you're going.
That's the spread.
Yeah,
I'm not good at that stuff, but I always be right around the spread for some reason. Every time I pick, I'm right around the spread, but I don't quite. I understand it.
The football.
I don't never check the spreads or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, George, let everybody know where you can where they can follow you on Twitter. Obviously, follow your podcast 100 Sanford, but yourself out.
Yeah, George Foster 72. That's on everything, I believe, and we have a podcast. Me, Lamar Lovelace, Graham Coffey, Trigger Trey. Whenever Trey drops in on us, 100 Sanford podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts at, and we try to bring you that good dog talk. You know what I mean? So the new episode this week will be out Thursday, so tune in.
I appreciate you fellas, man.
No doubt.
Appreciate you, George. Thanks so
much.
Appreciate
y'all guys
we'll
having me, man. Y'all
you gotta go, bro. We got our listeners mad because it's a big red Georgia thing. They're like, bro, I can't watch this.
Listen, man, y'all treat me so nice, man.
There you go,
bro. That's the guy
we lost. Nature Gator, Nick's adversary. Nick's lifelong adversary.
He still responds to almost all my tweets, but I told him he was muted. I told him he was muted, and he screenshotted it and sent it to Shannon Terry, who owns On3, and was like, "Is it how do you think professionals should?"
I like him now. Come back, Mr. Gator. I like you now, bro. I like how you roll, man.
He's been at my neck all year.
He's on your case. So he's mad at Nick, not us. All right. Hey, George, man, hold it down, man. You guys have a good show this week.
Appreciate y'all having me.
And bad luck on Saturday, bro.
Bad luck to you too.
George Foster.